Astral back here with part 3 and the final part of our complete beginner's guide to DanMachi. In the first part, we went over a slight overview of a few of the events, proper team setup, and synergy. The second part, I kind of went more in depth on events in the game, the importance of them, the importance of joining a familia, CP leveling, and just a little bit of general game advancement. And in this part, which is the final part, I want to go over Ascension, which is a newer, I don't know what you would call it, a newer mechanic that they added into the game not too long ago, where you can ascend characters and weapons. I want to talk about like crafting of weapons, proper attack order for events, the banners, and just a little bit more about game advancement. So I'm going to try to make this one a little bit quicker, so let's just hop right into it. So let's just start off by going over Ascension. Like I said, Ascension was something that was added into the game not too long ago. You have Hero Ascension and you have Weapon and Armor Ascension, if I can speak properly. So it's going to be a little bit harder for me to show you on my units because I have most of them ascended already. But basically, you just get bonus stats by ascending your adventurers. So here's one of the newer units, Lyra. I just can't speak today. But anyways, I haven't ascended it yet. So just so you can see, your first 3 ascensions on a season 2 unit are just going to be the pink ones, which you get very easily. So we can go ahead and ascend it, and you can kind of see how the MP and all my stats basically increase. So Ascension is a great way to, of course, make your normal character way stronger, right? Um, Now, there are some strategies that would include you not ascending units. One example would be like a wargame team where you're using Daphne for the agility down, physical resist down, yada yada yada. Technically, that unit would be better as a sack than a fully ascended level 80 character. So, like something around level 64, something like that, where it dies first turn right away. That would be kind of an exclusion to this law. So a lot of it you really have to think about strategy wise. It's not always good to have a character MLB, as weird as that sounds, but that kind of goes into way more in-depth, more complicated strategies. So I'm just going to avoid that for now and just talk about general Ascension. So as you can see, your first 3 Ascensions just cost you the pink ones. I forget what the pink ones are called. I know the blue ones are called Hero, whatever, but so the first 3 times that you ascend a unit, it just takes the pink. After that, you have to use the pink Ascension, Falna, and the Hero Falna, the blue one. And it costs 5 of each. So clearly I only have 10 left. This unit's only level 64, so I'm not even going to waste my material leveling this unit up. But it's just a way that you can basically make a unit that is as strong as it can be at 80 even stronger, right? So that's why you see upper world game and record buster teams where they'll have the pink stars. That just means that they're fully ascended and their stats have been boosted to the highest that they can be boosted, right? Um, it's very easy to get the pink one. I should really look up what it's called since I'm making a guide, but we're just going to ignore that. You can get a lot of it from doing the events. There's normally trade-ins for the event rewards to get them. The blue ones are a little bit harder to come by. You do get some of them from the events. Every month you can go to the cereals and Dulb, and I think it's like 10 Dulb to get 3 Hero Ascension pieces. And then, of course, you can do, if you want to spend money on the game, you can buy them. Literally buy them. They have the bundles of like 400 Iris plus 15 Hero Ascension pieces for X amount of dollars. So Hero is a little bit harder to come by. So when you're new to the game, ascending past 3 is going to be something that is not going to be easily achievable for you, especially for a full team. And you just need to remember that the meta in this game shifts very quickly. It seems like every banner that releases, the meta changes. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend a newer player trying to full ascend a team right off the bat because you're going to waste all your materials, which are going to be hard for you to get when you're a lower level or a newer player. You're going to waste all those materials, and your units are more than likely going to be outdated. So I just want to kind of briefly touch base on what, a hero ascension is, kind of what the benefit of ascending them are, and so on and so forth. But like I said, just keep in mind, if you're a new player, it might not be the best idea to fully ascend. Now, mind you, the pink ones are pretty easy to come by, so as long as you've got a healthy little sum of them, 3-star ascending, something that you have max level bond is not a bad idea, especially if you're building a team to clear quests, etc., etc. But that's hero ascension. So we're gonna go on to weapons. So basically, your blacksmith is where you can do everything with weapons, right? I talked before about the dispatch quest, and that kind of gives you your basic materials for crafting just general weapons, as I refer to them. You also get a little bit of iris from it. But in crafting, you have general weapons, which would be like your 3 stars and even some of your 4 stars. But, like you need silver ore and flawless wood. But then you get into weapons that are specific to characters. So if I go back up here, let's just pick Woven Lore. So that's Yuri's actual crafted weapon. So when this weapon is crafted and it's put on Yuri, Yuri actually gets a higher strength bonus from using this weapon. So I don't know what the actual number is, but for the sake of proving the point, let's just say it's 1,000 strength, right? So if I put this weapon on Bell, Bell gains 1,000 strength. If I put it on Yuri, Yuri might gain 1,300, 1,500. So as long as it's equipped to the character that it's specific for, that's when you obtain that bonus. So most top tier players, higher level players, of course, are going to have the best rolled weapons and armor for the specific characters. So what I mean by best rolled is, as you can see, you have critical, strength, agility, critical. So what we typically go for a world game team would be like 30% critical, 30% agility. If you really have the materials, or you're just looking for strength outside a world game, then of course you're going to want the 30% critical and then strength on top of it for a physical, or magic on top of it for a magic based user. That would be considered, a top tier roll on that weapon. And then from there, after you, have your weapon, you can always go through and ascend your weapons. So most of mine are ascended, so just to show you the point, you have these, I don't even know what the hell they're called, but you have your materials for ascending weapons, and you have a separate material for ascending armor. You can only get these by completing 7th zone. So that's why I kind of made that video about synergy and building teams and, things of that nature. And like I said, you can only get them by completing 7th zone. So that's where that comes into play. If you want to start getting top tier equipment, and armor especially, armor would be the first thing I would say to ascend. But to get that top tier equipment, you're going to have to do 7th zone. And there is like a 1-day gap between new 7th zones when they're, available. And every single one has its own weakness. So if you only have a dark team right now, you may fail for 3 weeks until a dark, till the dark 7th zone comes around and you can actually complete it. But you should give it your best effort, because that's the only way to achieve these materials. And once again, just like the hero ascension, equipment ascension does the exact same thing, except it raises the level of the gear. So the normal level cap of any type of gear, whether it be armor or weapon, is 60. By ascending it, you can ascend it up to level 90. And that just gives you, of course, the bonus strength to it, etc., etc. So I can go ahead and like show you some of my equipment. So like I have a level 91 right here for Agronaut, which is of course the 15 critical, 30 agility. And then if you look, it's ascended all the way up to level 90 with a physical attack max of 410, which is the highest physical attack or magical attack that you can get. So it's the top roll that you can get on a specific weapon. You can also rehammer weapons. I'll go a little bit into that. So you can rehammer status and attributes on both weapons and armor. And what that would be is, like, you can see that this weapon has a physical attack of 346. Well, if I go to rehammer, the highest it can be is 350 with a durability highest of 950. So I can literally use my secret hammers that I get from dispatch quest to rehammer and try to get this perfect. I do that for weapons on all the characters that I actually use. I mean, I'm sitting on 486. It doesn't cost any gold to do, so realistically, I could go ahead and do this to all my character weapons that I haven't done it for yet, but now's not the time, right? You can also do the same thing with attributes. So, like, let me go to one that I don't have locked because it's not a perfect roll. So, like this, well, that's still perfect for war game. But, like here. So I have 15 critical, 10 magic. The god roll on that would, of course, be 30 magic, right? Because that's the highest that you can get. You can only have 3 attributes. So I would get the 15 crit, then I would get another 15 crit, then I'd be trying to get the 30 magic. So I could rehammer this to try to get better stats on that if I didn't have the materials to craft another one. Because when you get into crafting character-specific weapons, the materials that you need are also character-specific as well, and normally you only get those from the gachas inside of the events themselves. So what I mean by that is if I go back to crafting and I want to craft the Black Stroke, which is for Alfred, okay, to craft that, I need hardened iron core times 4. I don't have any because I use them all crafting, right? It's not something that I can get from dispatch quests. The only way that I can get that is by buying it from the shop in a different area with, I think they're called Moonbow gems. So, like, I can literally come over to my shop and then I can go to special exchange and then material exchange, and then right here I have 95 Moonbow gems, and then I would have to literally find the piece that I need to craft and buy them. Now, if you see, I only have 95 of them. Most of them take 4+ to craft, so I mean, I can only craft what, like, I mean, my math's gonna be terrible at 1 in the morning, but 20, 30 of them, however many, you know what I'm saying? So that's another reason why it's important to do events, so you can get the material to craft the weapons for the banner heroes that are out right now, the banner adventurers that are out. So that's just a brief, quick touch on equipment, ascension of equipment, and ascension of characters. I also kind of wanted to talk about banners a little bit. I mean, they're pretty self-explanatory, but I mean, this is a gacha game. What you guys need to remember is in a gacha game, the odds are against you, right? So if I actually go to gacha details and we like actually look at this, right? My chances on an 11 draw of getting a 4-star adventurer, which of course is the only one that you really want, right? Because you want the adventurers or the assist from the gacha itself. My chances of getting that are terrible, right? 2% for an adventurer, 1% for an assist. So the odds are never in your favor. And that's another reason why doing events and getting those 4-star guarantees and things of that nature are a good way to build up a good adventurer base or assist base of max level bonded, you know, heroes and adventurers, because the gacha is never in your favor. It's just not, right? I mean, every now and again we see screenshots where somebody gets extremely lucky. For every person that's got an extremely lucky gacha, there's about 10,000 people that have been royally screwed over, okay? So just accept that you're going to get screwed over in the gachas, right? But with that being said, I mean, the gachas rotate every like 2-3 weeks. So, and that's why I was saying as a new player, it might not be the best idea to fully ascend a, you know, an adventurer or, you know, ascend their specific weapon, because in 2 or 3 weeks something may come out that makes it better, right? So it's one of those things that you need to watch trends and make educated decisions for yourself. Now, if you're clearing 7th zone and you're clearing it on very hard on, you know, both of the ones that are out every single time it comes around, well, then you have the materials that you can kind of be a little bit more lenient with ascending your weapons and stuff. But if it's something that you just started, you're having a really hard time, those materials are hard to come by, I would be very reserved as to what weapons I decided to ascend, even if I was to ascend at all. So I just kind of want to get that point across. You know, Ascension is great. Armor is one of those things that, you know, armor is always going to be good. It's not character specific for a certain bonus. So armor is one of those things that you can ascend without really having to care too much. So for example, if I go to like my equipment list and my armor, you can see I have almost a full set of fully ascended level 90 breastplates because I use them in Wargame, right? And I also use them to keep my characters alive when I don't have an ailment that I'm fighting in, you know, PvE. And just to touch on that a little bit, because I have a lot of new players ask me the questions about it. Yes, there are assists that block ailments. You know, there's a lot of I think there's actually a 3-star assist for almost every ailment that's out there that you'll run into, albeit poison or stun or whatever have you. But anklets are the best way to go because you're freeing up that assist slot that's going to potentially get you a better score. Now, the only way to craft these, of course, is to do Record Buster, and this is where the whole game comes full circle. And this is why you have to, you know, basically build better teams and grow your account to be able to place better. The better you place, the more rewards you're going to get. The more rewards you're going to get, the more things you're going to be able to craft, the more things you're going to be able to upgrade, the more things you're going to be able to upgrade and craft, the better you're going to place in events. So it's this endless circle of placing good to be able to increase your team and make your team better, right? So anyways, the only way to craft anklets is to get the medals from placing in Record Buster, and then even then when you craft them, it's random what ailment you're going to get. So like this one has 100% seal assist, resist. This has 100% stun. I mean, I can go through all of them, but it's pointless, slow, whatever. The only way to craft these is to place in Record Buster, guys, which means you need to build a team, you need to build synergy, and like I said, it's that endless circle. Even if you're not placing good now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't try, right? Place, get what you can get, slowly grow your account. As you grow your account better, you're going to place higher. It's just, that's the circle. And then same thing with banners. Pull as much as you can on banners, you know, with the free iris that you're getting. Increase your CP, finish your quest line, you know, do all those things that you can do to get that free iris to be able to pull banners. And another thing is look at what the units in the banners actually are. Don't feel bad if you're not pulling a banner as soon as it comes out. Wait to see what people are saying about the units. There are units that come out in new banners that are just garbage. They're not competitive in any way, shape, or form, and to be honest, some of them are just downright useless. Why waste your iris on a completely useless, you know what I mean, banner? So don't feel bad if, hey, the new banner comes out and I'm not spending 1,500 of my free iris pulling this banner because the units are useless, right? Get a little bit of information first, especially if you don't know what you're looking for. The forums are a great place. I know a lot of people discuss them there. Get in a Discord group where you can ask questions and then, you know, go from there. But like I said, it's this endless circle of constantly trying to place better in, you know, Wargame and Record Buster, placing better in 7th Zone to get those better materials, to increase your equipment, to ascend your characters, to get more free iris, to pull better characters. It's just a big circle, guys. So don't feel discouraged if, you know, you're not a top ranked player when you just started 3 weeks ago. It's just not going to happen. I mean, you can be competitive in 3 weeks to an extent, but you're not going to be a top player. Just keep grinding away at it, and that's the only way to really, I don't know, increase your standing in the game, if that's a way to word it. So, you know, it's just one of those, don't get discouraged, just keep trying, just keep playing, keep placing better, ask around, get opinions, see what people are using, and then once again, go back to, you know, like my first video where I was talking about synergy with a team. So that's how I'm going to finish this one off, is synergy with a team, right? So we talked about it in the first video about, you know, how things interact with each other, and I'm just going to show you guys a team on the current light zone that we have right now, which its weakness is dark. This is the team that I used against it. It's not an optimal team, but it gets the job done. For the 7th zone, to get the max rewards from the guild section on the homepage, you have to score 15 million or higher. You only have to clear it to get the rewards to ascend equipment and, as far as weapons and armor are concerned. So don't feel bad if you're not getting that 15 million. As long as you're clearing them, you're getting the materials to ascend your weapons and armor, which is really more important than some Valius and, a few little other petty things. You might, I think it's like 50 Iris or something that you get, plus a bunch of Valius, which a bunch, I mean like 500,000. Which, when it comes to equipment ascension, that's the other thing why I said be reserved. It costs a lot of gold. A lot of gold to ascend armor. Not only does it take a lot of whetstones to increase the armor to level 90 or increase the weapon to level 90, it takes a lot of gold to use the materials to ascend. I had like 150,000 after ascending weapons and stuff. You can see I'm down to 22, or 150 million, sorry. I'm down to 22 million. I mean, it drains your bank, guys. But anyways, this is going to be the last the last video in the series for the kind of beginner of DanMachi, and I'm just going to end it with a little synergy and showing you kind of attack order and how to go about things. So we talked about synergy in the first one. This is my dark team. If you don't remember, watch the first video again and where I talked about synergy. But the idea behind this team is this 7th zone is weak to dark. I'm using a full dark physical team. I'm using Haru to extend my buffs. I'm using Line to increase my SA gauge. Line and Goblin Slayer are going to be sacks in this. They're going to be sacrificial units, mainly because Line is only there to increase my SA gauge. Goblin Slayer is there to decrease the physical resist of the opposing team and the dark resist by 30, because of course I'm using a dark physical team. I have my SF Hestia, the blue Hestia in slot 2, which is going to increase my attack all damage. I have Artemis to increase my physical strength on everybody. I'm using Seer and Finn, which is kind of a new strat. Of course, it would be better if my Finn was NLB, but with this strat, I'm getting more SAs. And then I'm using, I can't remember, it's Purebride Sir, which is increasing my dark resist, or decreasing dark resist by 7% and dark attack damage by 15%. And then, of course, we go with Ares because it's one of the top tier physical resist down units. So everything in this team has synergy. It's all meant to work together. The only way to really improve this team, and that would be with sticking with these adventurers, would be if I had an MLB Finn, because with an MLB Finn, I would increase my SA charge gain for allies from 22% to 33%, and if I'm not mistaken, the strength, magic, and dex goes up to 12%. I'd have to check it, but I think it's 12%. So that would be the only way to make this specific team better. I mean, most of these people have fully ascended armor, well, except for that one, but I have fully ascended weapons. Haru, I have the wrong weapon on, and, I don't have a stun anklet. Thank you for the message. So, I'm just going to load this team from here, and I talked about the kind of call-up thing from before. That way I have stun anklets on everybody, and I'm good, because I think it was stun this time around. So, anyways, we're just going to go in and I'll kind of explain the attacks, why we're doing things in the order that we're doing it, etc., etc. So with Otaro, we're using the self, where he is boosting his dark attack damage, his physical resist, and magic resist. Really, I don't care about the physical and magic resist. I just want him to do more damage, which is why we're going for the fast strength and dark attack damage plus 50%. I'm not worried about him dying. I'm also using attack 1, Arcane from Haru, which is going to decrease the strength and magic of the wyverns, or whatever the hell they're called, by 40%. I'm using Crossing Lilies, which is attack 1 on Makoto, which is going to increase the strength, agility, and dexterity of all my allies by 25%. And then, of course, Line as a sack. I'm using the second attack Spotlight to increase my SA gauge. I'm going to also get critical rate and penetration up by 20%. So pretty forward attack 1, I'm basically just boosting all my allies. I'm debuffing the enemies so they can't do near as much damage to me. and I'm using line to get more SA. So then second attack, I'm just going to start going with my AoE attacks, right? Because Ataro, his only other attack, I've already got him self-buffed. I'm going to extend that with Haru. So I can just start going with the AoE attacks. For attack 2, I'm going to use the Sheikah, which I don't need the MP right now, but I want the counter rate, and then I'll end up actually running it again after I SA with Haru. But like I said, for now, I'm just going with the attack alls, as you can see, because that's just a single attack. So just attack alls, and then for Goblin Slayer, as he's a sack, I'm just using his physical resist and dark resist 30% down. And then as you can see, because I used Haru's attack 2, which increases my counter, I'm getting counters after almost every single attack that I'm taking from the enemy, right? So now that I got my sacks out of the way, it's basically time for the real fight, right? So I'm going to now use Haru's attack 3, which I'm going to start extending the buffs of everything. I'm going to keep attacking all with Ataro and Makoto, and then I'm just going to buff... I can't even remember his name, but I'm going to buff him. And then we have to sit here and wait for their 10 million attacks to debuff me, which I can turn icons on so you can see. But so everybody's buffed. I already have an SA, and I'm almost on my way to my second SA. I'm going to use Haru's SA because it gives me strength and magic plus 100%. So that's the main reason behind that, and then I'm just going to swap to my attack all. So from here on out, all I'm doing is I'm having all my characters on attack all, and I'm just using Haru to extend my buffs. That's all I'm doing. So once again, Haru's SA is going to give me a 100% increase in magic and strength. I don't have any magic users, but the 100% in strength is going to boost everybody. I'm just attacking all with all my normal units, and then I'm just using Haru to basically extend all my buffs and my debuffs to the enemy. And I'll show you as soon as this turns over exactly how much I've lowered the enemy just from my assists and the attacks that I've used. And then of course I'm getting counters like crazy, right? So if we look here, they have 110% resist to everything except dark. Dark, they're now down 87%, so I'm doing 87% bonus damage with dark, and I'm also doing 50% bonus damage with physical. So right now I'm doing 137 bonus damage. Now if you look, their strength and magic are only down for one more turn. You could use Haru's attack 3 to extend this. I really don't care because my units are strong enough that they're not going to kill me. And another kind of strategy side of it is if I weaken their attacks too much, they can't damage me, right? Like, I can guard most of their attacks. So I'm just going to check my characters. My agility and dexterity are only there for one more turn. One more turn on that. So I don't really care about the debuff on the enemies. I more or less care about extending the buffs on my own characters so I can do more damage. So I'm just going to use Haru's attack 3 to extend buffs. And as you can see, I'm resisting most of this because, like I said, with the 40% down and the strength of my characters, I'm just not getting that much damage dealt to me. So now, if we look, I'm good for a while. The only thing I'm going to lose is the regen heal 40%, which you cannot extend that because that's part of Haru's SA. So I've got 2 turns on everything. The Wyverns, they've all are debuffed and everything's set for 4 turns. So I'm going to actually rerun Haru's attack 2, and the reason being, when my unit in slot 6 came out, he didn't get the counter buff because I counter buffed turn 2. So I'm just using that not to gain the MP, but to get the higher counter rate on my 4th unit. So then we sit for this long, grueling series of attacks that are just pointless. They really need to have a speed times 5 on this. And then I'm just going to go back to Haru's attack 3 for basically the rest of this fight. And from here on out, it's pretty self-forward. I'm just using AoE attacks with everybody, and I'm just using Haru to buff everybody. I've already debuffed the enemy as much as I can. I've already buffed all my allies, all my ally adventurers as much as I can. So the only thing left I have to do is basically extend my buffs. So then as you can see, because I'm running Sur and Fen, I'm getting my special arts a little bit quicker. So I'm just going to dual special art. Now, the reason I'm dueling is when you do a combo, each special art gets a damage buff, so I'm doing a little bit more damage with each special art simply because it's a combo. And then if the two are ascended, then they can also do like a specialty combo attack after the fact. To be honest with you, I don't remember if these two do or not. Yep, so there's the combo attack that comes up because they're ascended, which will do probably an extra like 70,000 damage or 115,000, somewhere along those lines. And then once again, I have to sit here and wait for all these wyverns to do whatever the hell they're doing to my characters, which basically they're just lowering my strength, so it's taking me longer to kill. And then I'm just going to go right back to attack all with everybody, and then I'm just extending buffs. And then by the time I get my next SA, I should be able to drop them, which should be turn 11. Which turn 11 isn't great. I think this will probably place me like 250 or something. Should be around 15 mil. Just barely squeaking by. So yeah, it's going to be a turn 11 kill. And like I said, this should get me just over 15 mil, which is the bare minimum requirement to get all the rewards from guild. Of course, I just S-cleared it because I didn't have any enemies die, so, you know, I get the iris from that. Plus, since I finished, or I completed it, even though I had previously completed it. If it was your first time, I got the items to, well, new best, so I got 15.9 mil. But I got the items to do equipment extension, or ascension, etc., etc. So if we look with 15 mil, it's not going to be updated yet, but I'm ranked. After that goes through, I'll probably be maybe sub 200, if not like 201, 202. But that's why synergy comes into place. Everything kind of worked together. The only thing that I could have done, which would have got me a 1 turn less kill, was if I would have had MLB Finn, and then I would have been able to kill turn 10, and then I probably would have got like 16.2, 16.3 million. So that's the basic idea, guys. I hope that this little mini-series helps a lot of the new players. I know it was a lot of information. I'm sure I screwed up on a lot of things as far as the enunciation of words, what I called things, etc., etc. There's also a lot more experienced players than me, but I hope as a new player, with the amount of information in this mini series, it kind of gives you guys an idea of how to progress in the game, how to make your account better, how to place better, and basically just the general flow of how the game is played. You know, I can make more videos later on. If you have any questions, concerns, anything like that, put them in the comments. And, you know, good luck to you guys. Just keep the grind going.